Hello, and welcome to another episode of my Northstar Talks Politics series. Now, for those of you who did not hear, less than 2 weeks ago, as the date of this recording, 13 days ago to be precise, Fox News host Brian Kilmeade said that on live television on Fox and Friends, that homeless people should be involuntarily euthanized. That is, to give involuntary lethal injections to homeless people suffering from mental illness. This is a Rolling Stone article, one of the bravest news agencies that still continues to stand up to the increasing mass censorship and Trump administration pressuring news outlets to give a biased reporting of things and spin everything to the right. For instance, after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, articles about Charlie Kirk's past hateful comments calling for the murder of LGBTQ people, Muslims, even Joe Biden, were suppressed. The articles suddenly were pulled off the websites of many major news organizations to the point where if you want to find something about that, you have to go to MSN, for instance. And this is actually someone had a recording on their computer of Charlie Kirk calling for the execution of Joe Biden, and for public executions with children being allowed to watch them. He said that, and that used to be that you could find articles about that on the mainstream media websites, but they pulled it down. They pulled it down so that people wouldn't get the truth about what happened. And, they could whitewash all the horrendous hate speech and crimes that this person committed. Now, that doesn't excuse what happened to him in any sense, but it is part of spinning news coverage to the right. Now, anyways, Fox and Friends co-host Brian Kilmeade endorsed euthanizing unhoused people suffering from mental health issues who decline getting help. He made the mark during a recent episode where his co-hosts Ansley Earhart and Lawrence Jones were discussing the murder of Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska. The co-host posited the suspect, who has an extensive criminal record, was diagnosed with a mental illness, should have been removed from the streets long before the tragedy occurred. Jones notes the incident was just one instance and adds, "But this is happening all across the country. It's not a money issue." He then claimed that, quote, billions have been spent on the mental health crisis. Not actually, unless you're counting Medicaid money, which, by the way, pays such low fees to providers that usually doesn't even cover the cost of providing medical care. So homeless people and people who are housed but are very poor have great difficulty finding quality mental health care, or any mental health care in many areas. And for the homeless population, because a lot of providers don't take Medicaid, and that for a lot of them, they don't want to take the programs and, quote, don't want to seek out the necessary help. And then he's claimed you can't give them a chance to continue to take the resources they're going to give you, or decide that you got to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now. This, of course, progressed to conservatives talking about involuntary confinement in mental health institutions, the homeless. But anyways, Kilmeade then interjected with a disturbingly bonkers suggestion, interrupting Jones to say, or involuntary lethal injection or something. Kilmeade said. He said, just kill him. His co-host then glossed right over that shocking comment and continued their conversation. As Media Matters reported, the segment aired on Saturday, as the clip went viral, California Governor Gavin Newsom weighed in with a biblical proverb, suggesting on social media, whoever closes his ear to the cry of the poor will himself call out and not be answered. Kilmeade apologized to remarks on Sunday. That's after it aired on Wednesday, so there was a delay. Some people are claiming he apologized the very next day, but actually Wednesday to Sunday is 4 days later. During that discussion, I wrongly said they should get lethal injections. He told host Lawrence Jones made a social media post, but I have to double check the exact timing. He apologized, but right. So he made an apology on TV on Sunday, but on the following Sunday. But the fact that these kind of things are going on and indeed are becoming more and more common. Here's a CNN article. I know some people who tend to be right-wing may hate CNN, although they're actually fairly center-right, right-wing biased. News coverage, just that far-right stuff is becoming very, very common. So they look left in comparison, but they absolutely are not. Take it from someone who's actually on the left wing. CNN has a shocking conservative bias. After shocking many by saying mentally ill homeless people should be put to death, Fox News morning host Brian Kilmeade apologized on Sunday. Kilmeade's mea culpa came one day after his original comment, just kill him, went viral across multiple social media platforms. The segment aired Wednesday morning, but didn't seem to garner widespread attention until Saturday morning. Oh, okay, that explains. Commenters, but some media outlets tried to make it look like he apologized the day after it happened, which is not true. It took 4 days and it going viral for him to apologize. He wouldn't have probably done it if he hadn't gotten a lot of negative attention. The clip labeled Brian Kilmeade endorses euthanizing homeless people garnered more than 20 million views and X by Sunday afternoon. Commenters immediately called for the Conservative Network, which has a reputation for almost never apologizing, which is true, they almost never do, to take action against Kilmeade. In the Wednesday segment, Kilmeade and the other hosts were talking about last month's murder of Irina Zertuska in Charlotte, North Carolina. The suspect in the killing struggled with mental illness, was living in a homeless shelter, the suspect's mother told CNN. Co-host Lawrence Jones, all that. Christian Quinn of Wynn, who runs shelters and transitional housing in New York City, called Kilmeade's rhetoric completely devoid of all humane, and says it only serves to divide and inflame. Kilmeade reportedly appeared remotely on Sunday's Fox and Friends weekday, and Jones tossed him, knowing Kilmeade had some cleaning up to do. Anyways, and this is about his apology. A Fox News spokesperson did not respond to CNN's request for comment. So yeah, they did their best to take a minimal reaction to it. Meanwhile, of course, there's violence like this guy being shot, and before that, him openly calling for execution of an ex-president, calling for the killing of LGBTQ people and Muslims. So the point is, political violence and hate speech are on the rise in America. I could point to many hateful comments that Donald Trump said, and I could, of course, point to what's going on with ICE, where they're sometimes acting with shocking brutality, or those resisting them, who sometimes can become quite violent themselves. People should, of course, peacefully resist what they're doing. They are acting like brutal authoritarians. The bottom line here is that there are increasing levels of lashing out, of hate speech, of violence. It's symptoms of the symptom being in collapse. It's signs of a system in collapse. People are afraid. They're suffering in various ways. Ordinary people. And demagogues, opportunists, media pundits, they're latching onto this. They're funneling this energy, this suffering that a lot of people are going through as things become worse and worse for ordinary Americans, and engaging in hate speech, searching for scapegoats, whether it's the homeless, Muslims, or LGBTQ people, or immigrants. This is, by the way, history repeating itself. The Nazis actually did kill the mentally ill and the disabled. I'm disabled long COVID myself, which does have effects on the brain in terms of judgment, emotional regulation, memory, ability to focus. What, are they going to come and give me a lethal injection because of a disease that I got from a virus that spread partly because Trump was going around telling people to inject bleach instead of to get, masks and protect themselves from, a virus that not only killed a lot of people, but disabled a lot of people. I got long COVID from an infection that came from my roommate who refused to obey quarantine laws, crossed state lines to return from a business trip where he'd been infected with COVID. Claiming, oh, I didn't think you could get it again because you already had it once. It's like, well, no, this is a different strain, and that was 10 months before. So yes, I got it again just before the vaccine was available too. It was already starting to get rolled out for the extremely vulnerable populations. I was just hoping to make it, to the vaccine being around and get vaccinated, and the risk of dying or developing long COVID are reduced with vaccination. But unfortunately, yeah, people did not take the pandemic seriously enough, like my roommate, and that was partly because of things that the conservatives said about, quote, injecting bleach. And yeah, no, instead, you have calls for killing people, just like the Nazis eventually did actually kill people. Just like fascists throughout history have searched for scapegoats. This is not a good sign. It's about deflection for some, to put the attention on scapegoat groups instead of the powerful, instead of billionaires, instead of the system of capitalism for others. It's an attempt. They legitimately need someone to blame for the problem. They think that some people actually drink the Kool-Aid and think that if they do something to this or that scapegoat group, that things will get better. That's nonsense, because there are deeper systemic problems. And these things become more and more common. I'm recording in October of 2025. By, the time some of you see this, my channel ever gets big, which I'm trying to grow it so I can monetize, so I can have a chance to, maybe survive, because SSI is a pathetically small amount of money, and of course the Secure Administration is dragging out, even whether after it's fairly clear they probably need to prove it, they can still request more and more forms, even after, the medical examination they had came pretty, clear that the doctor seemed fairly certain that, I'm quite sick with this disease. But by the time some of you see this, 2026, 2027, I guarantee it'll be worse than it is now in 2025, assuming there isn't something like Trump getting impeached and replaced, or an emergency election and someone more left-wing getting elected. That's probably not going to happen, so things are going to get worse before they get better. And things get better for a little bit, and then they'll get even worse still. Probably in 12 years, we'll be under a fascist government at this rate. Not necessarily during Trump's current term, though could happen, but very, very likely what'll happen is Trump will do immense damage to Democratic norms, then he'll get replaced by a Democrat for a while. The Democrat will fail to fix any of the systemic issues, because Democrats never do. They are unwilling to challenge the powerful, the rich. They take the same lobbyist money as the Republicans. Then after 4 or 8 years of that Democrat, then a Republican will get elected who will move things even deeper into authoritarianism and probably cancel elections or something. That's what I see as a likely path if things don't happen even faster than that. I do advise trying to get out now if you can, not later, now. If any country starts accepting political refugees in the United States, I will gladly go to that country. Well, if it's a country that's signed to the UN Convention for the Rights of the Disabled, because, the long COVID, I need to be careful to go somewhere that will, not discriminate against me legally in entry based on being disabled. And that convention says that if they provide financial support to refugees, they also have to disable refugees, and there are certain rules about it, so that basically, I could go to such a country, be safe from the fascists, and not starve to death, rather than being stuck here because needing SSI to survive. But yeah, if you're healthy, able-bodied, get out now. Maybe start building a network of support in other countries so that you can bring over people who wait longer, are less able to leave on their own. There's ways to sponsor people who may not be able to get, visas otherwise to leave, including disabled people. Although mostly that's only been focused on trans people right now, where there have been organizations sponsoring trans people is immigrants to Canada and a few other countries, but because those are the most vulnerable populations, but they're not the only vulnerable people. So, yeah. Anyways, that's enough for now. I wish you all the best. Take care of each other. Be kind to yourselves. And may you always find a guiding star to lead you home. Till next time, this Northstar I do. And best luck.